All right, guys, just got the engine slid over because we have the parts stored in another spot until I go grab those and kind of just, like I said, getting stuff cleaned up. And then I rolled the engine over here, went ahead and got the other header off, and then got the plug wire holder deals off. I think call those holdemicators or something like that. And then we also got one broken spark plug. When I went and took that out, I no more than touched a socket to it, it just snapped. So kind of weird. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and disassemble a couple more things off the engine while I'm waiting to go get the parts. And then I'm trying to think, there's something else I wanted to share. Oh, also, since this car is going to be lowered and kind of have more of a Restomod feel / look, we were hoping, I knew it had headers on it, we were hoping they weren't long tubes. And I know you probably saw it already, but they weren't, which is good. These hug the block real nice, and they're shorties, and they're Sandersons. Pretty nice set of headers. So that'll be perfect. That way we can get the exhaust tucked up as high as possible for them, because with this car being low, you don't want to be bashing your header collectors or exhaust all the time. So that'd be pretty nice. But anyway, might set you up on a little time lapse here or video, whichever I decide to do, and get some of this crap off the engine. So there we go. All right, had to stop the time lapse because this just cracked me up. I've never seen this oil filter brand, but being that the oil is getting cleaned and going through the filter, it's, you know, becoming pure again. We got the Purelator on there. That's right. Got to keep that oil purelated. Purelator 9000 right there. This oil is probably clean as it can be. All right, guys, got about as far as I want to go for now. Got the water pump off of it, got the crank, pulley, and balancer pulled off. So I'm going to clean up the water neck spots real quick, and that'll pretty much be as far as I want to go for now. Got the fuel pump plate and rod pulled off, since we'll be running a block-off plate because we'll have the electric pump in tank for the fuel injection. Yeah, so that's pretty much as far as I want to go with that. And then hopefully in the next clip, we'll get back with you and see what I want to start on, whether it be stay on the engine or get on doing brake stuff, and might bounce between back and forth. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where we go in this next clip. So we'll swap over to that and see what we're getting into. All right, looks like I'm going the engine route. Since I've already been on it, went ahead and set up an area, and I'm just going to go ahead and start disassembling it. Keep making headway on the engine, and then we'll probably jump over to the brake system after that. So set you up again and watch me get this thing all tore down. Okay, wanted to show you guys what I had come across. Basically, got all the surfaces cleaned up. I know some guys will probably freak out that I'm using a fine wire wheel up here, but it's what I've always done and it works. I'm no engine machiner guy. Just this works for me. Gets it nice and clean, gets a good smooth surface, and gets rid of the gasket material, silicone, stuff like that without damaging the actual metal. It just works quick and it's clean, simple. And also, as I was looking along here, cleaning up the surfaces, I noticed this rocker arm. As you can tell, that's definitely not ideal. That's how it should be sitting. So I got to looking. You can see all your push rods got your groove and ball tip, and you can see them all along here. Now, as I go around, you can look at all the other ones, and the two that are slightly jacked up, you can't see, but mainly this one. Here's the crooked one I'm showing you, and if you look, it's hard to see on camera, but look at where this push rod comes up and it veers off to the left. So I think that's definitely bent, and I think because someone got the wrong size push rods in a couple spots. So we're gonna go over all that and check that all out, obviously, because I'm gonna be pulling the heads off and doing new valve springs and all that stuff. So we'll be able to check all this stuff, and we may go with new studs, roller rockers, and all that fancy stuff, because with a cam like this that we're putting in it, we'll definitely want to have roller rockers, especially with that lift and duration and stuff. So, I'm no engine master, but I think that's the way to go with this one. So, and I did run the numbers, and it's a 62 to 65 327. I don't know if it's a truck engine or maybe out of a Corvette or another car. I don't know, but it is an early 327. So, and you can tell the early oil fill up here at the front. So, well, I'm going to keep moving on and hopefully start zipping all this stuff out. And I may not film that because like I said, I'm not a engine guy normally. So this is something I really have to pay attention and focus. So I'm going to set me up a nice area to keep everything in order with what cylinder it goes to. That way I can keep track of everything and know what the heck we got. So I'm going to go ahead and keep digging further down and see what we get. All right, we got that number 5 exhaust out that was all tweaked, and it is a different style push rod than the rest. So, and you can tell she is definitely tweaked. So watch this as we roll it. You can see this end right up here is bent. Really hard to see on camera, but it is tweaked for sure. I wish there was something I could roll it on that you could see it a little bit better, but might be able to do it on the concrete over here where it's a little smooth and not so dirty. I mean, it just stops. Kind of wondering if we can lay my there we go. You can see all the light under the middle of it. You can see how much of a gap there is there versus when you roll it there. And then you got there versus that. So the light helps seeing it under there. You can tell how badly that's bent. So, yeah, definitely gonna have to get some push rods for this thing. We'll measure them out, and we'll probably get a set of roller rockers and studs for this thing as well. Okay, it's a new morning, and I finished off by getting all of the stuff out, which I believe I showed already. Got everything numbered and where it goes, and got to looking this morning because I didn't pay much attention last night as I was taking this stuff apart, because I just kind of wanted to get this stuff out, get it organized, see what we got, see what we're working with. But anyway, looking at some of these studs, you can tell someone's definitely over revved this thing, which is why I think we got a couple bent push rods and whatever else. We haven't got fully inspected all that stuff just yet, but there's that stud, if you can see it, where the rocker's been wearing. And then we got one over here as well, which is this number 5, where that bent push rod and the jacked up rocker arm we're at. And then we got a stripped out stud on this one. You can see the top threads are gone. And I think there might have been one more. Yep, this one over here is damaged a little bit as well. So, we're gonna get these heads buzzed off and get those off, because now that we need to have screw and studs and guide plates put in, that pretty much eliminates us from doing these heads. We got a local machine shop that's pretty good, especially with small block Chevys. So we will probably take these in and go ahead. I was going to do the valve springs and all that stuff myself, but now that all this work needs to be done, we'll probably take it into them, have them clean it up, put in the new studs and guide plates, the valve springs and all that, clean the heads up, so that way when we get them back, they're bolt-on ready. So shouldn't be too bad. And then, yeah, so we're pretty much good to go there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these things buzzed off and we'll see what we got. Okay, here we are, guys. Made a little bit of a mess, but not too bad. So here she is. Looks like she's in really good shape. You can even still see some cross hatching. So this thing's probably been freshened up at one point. Everything looks pretty nice. So I'm gonna go through and kind of clean this thing up a little bit and start getting this stuff pulled apart and go from there. I'm not sure though. May leave this until we are officially ready to start putting it all back together. I don't know. We'll see. Got to see where we're at, what all we have, and then we'll go from there. So here we go. Get this thing all cleaned up and go from there. Okay, figure I'd show you where I'm at. Just doing some light cleaning since we're obviously waiting on a couple things for the engine. I don't want to get too much further into it, but I do want to get the rest of the coolant drained out of the block. But here's the pistons. Already been 30 over, but I just lightly cleaned all the carbon buildup that wanted to come off. So came off easy, wiped it down, basically just using WD-40. It's a fantastic cleaner. If you don't use it for that, start, because it's awesome. A lot of people just use it as like a penetrating oil or lubricant, and it's obviously it does well at both, but cleaning is one of its best qualities in my opinion. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift this car up in the air, roll this engine over underneath the car where I got some more room to breathe, and we're going to spin this thing around and dump the coolant out. But I don't know, I may just do it right here. I think I got enough room. That way I don't have to roll a bunch of stuff around and make an even bigger mess. So we'll go ahead and knock that out. All right, guys, got as far as we could on the engine for now, but kind of show you what I'm doing. We got it bagged up, so I got all the coolant drained out of it, and we got the heads ready to go off and get done up if and when we can. So I'll fill you guys in more on that situation. And here's the cam kit. But we're kind of changing gears now. Brake stuff and all that is in, but it's not up here at the shop at the given moment. So the only things I got right now are carpet and exhaust. And those will be like the last two things that go on this car. So those are not that important. So that being said, we do have the new gas tank for the EFI. So we got a little setup rigged over here. I'll show you. Got us a fuel pump wired in on a switch to a battery to a can. So I'm gonna get this all plumbed in, siphon the gas out of this tank, because the last car that I did, it was kind of at that point in time when I wasn't really filming or posting. I didn't siphon the gas tank, and I was like, oh, I can handle this. And I didn't handle it and dumped gas on myself and dropped the gas tank, and that wasn't fun. So we're gonna rig this setup and get this gas out of here, so that way when we pull the tank, it's empty and nobody drops it or has a bad day. So we'll go ahead and get this going, set you guys down, and let you watch me siphon this out. Maybe, I don't know, might be boring, so we'll see. Figured I won't time lapse it because that'd just be a boring time lapse anyway. So leaving this thing on the cold concrete just to kind of help it stay cool. And we got flow. So we'll let this fill up. And then we'll exchange stuff around and just keep filling it up until we get everything we can out of it. So it's working pretty good. She plumb dry now, boys. We're good to go. Probably get her up in the air and work on getting all our stuff disconnected, and I'll just go ahead and pull this old tank out and unbox that new one and see what we got. Alright guys, it's the next morning. I didn't end up getting started on doing the sending unit stuff yet. Got interrupted this morning doing some parts ordering and gathering and stuff like that, so I'm a little behind. But I did go ahead, and we'll show you up under here, as this has a ventilation system for the tank, obviously. Well, it comes with like a nice little aluminum check valve deal, and you got it mounted under the car. And I've done one of these on a 67.8 Camaro already, so I kind of had an idea for a bracket. Went ahead and fabbed it up, so we'll show you guys under here real quick. So there we go. Got her tucked up there real nice. Made that bracket, painted it up, then we'll run our ventilation line to that. And the beauty is you can put your ventilation line on and come through the license plate hole there and be able to slip everything on and have access to it. If in the future it would ever get plugged or something, or the check valve's not working, it's accessible through that hole. So anyway, that's all done and knocked out, and it's about lunchtime. So I'm going to get started on finishing up the sending unit and fuel pump, the in-tank fuel pump assembly, the hanger and all that stuff. So we'll get all that knocked out hopefully after lunch. All right, checking back in, and I didn't really film much of any of this because if you guys get one of these Holley EFI electronic fuel pump sending unit ready tanks, I can't remember what they're a really nice option. I would highly consider them. They're basically like conversion fuel tanks for running their EFI system. It comes with all the instructions to do the pump assembly. And there's a lot of, cutting, trimming, mathematication, and it gives you all the in-depth instructions. It's pretty easy once you read through it, and obviously it's one of those things, no sense in filming it. If you get this kit, it tells you how to go through it. But anyway, here's the new tank. There's the fuel pump assembly with your power and ground and sending unit, and all that is in place and ready to go. We don't have our fuel fittings and stuff yet because that portion of the EFI should be here next week. So this is pretty much done for now. Can't go back in yet because, like I said, don't have those fuel fittings. So at least I got this thing dialed in. It's good to go. And we got all the brake stuff in. So we'll check that out and go through all that and see what the heck we got. It's Friday afternoon, so I probably won't do that right now because it's almost 5 o'clock. So we'll probably save that Monday morning, and we'll go through all that, and we'll go from there. I'll see where I'm at in the video, and yeah, pretty stoked. Got everything minus the injection unit, and the heads are getting sent off to get redone tomorrow morning. So yeah, we're in a good shape. All right. Whoops. Left off showing you guys, got the fuel tank all finished up. So until we get those last bit of fittings, we can't really get it slipped back up in there yet. And we need a little bit of fuel line, which isn't a big deal. Got the old tank all ready to go in storage. And the heads went off and should be done here in a couple weeks. So that's nice. We were going to actually buy a set of aluminum heads, but another guy we know that does machine work can get to it a little bit quicker. So we're happy with that. Should have those back in a couple weeks. And now I'm unboxing all the brake stuff. So I'm gonna get started on all that, all the brake line stuff, getting the old master cylinder out, getting everything ready. So that's probably gonna do it for this video. You'll have to wait for the beginning of the next video to see the unboxing of all the cool Willwood brake stuff. So I'll probably have that kind of be like a major brake install video instead of splitting them up. So at least in this one, we got the engine all blown apart, got the fuel tank taken care of, got a little bit of stuff out. So anyway, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you then. Okay, we're back. I went ahead and got everything unboxed so we can see what we got. Got the rear calipers. Front calipers are over there. Mounting brackets, parking brake cables, mount brackets, hardware, stuff for the master cylinder itself. More hoses, proportioning valve mount bracket, wheel bearings and such, mount brackets for the power booster. So we got everything kind of laid out. And I went ahead and took the old master cylinder out, working on getting the old push rod out as well. And then I may go ahead and start on removing front brakes and spindles and stuff like that. So anyway, you'll see what I get into in the next clip. I probably won't film getting that push rod out just because that's not really anything to film. So probably get started on these fronts and we'll go from there. Okay, we got this side all off. Got this lower ball joint. Had to clean up the control arm all around it. It was pretty messy, and reason why I did that. So that thing's shot. This outer tie rod end is shot. This is actually still tight, believe it or not. It's actually in really good shape. And it's the original one because it's still got rivets in it. But we are going to replace it. Probably go through the whole front end on this car. If you watch back on the first video, we noticed it was pretty washy when driving it, and it didn't feel steering box related. So this is kind of answering all of my questions, or I guess confirming what I was thinking. So we're going to go ahead and continue to probably get the other side tore apart to where it matches this, and then we'll be ready to start ordering some of this crap so we can get it in, get it knocked out before we put all the Willwood stuff on. All right, since we're ordering a front end rebuild kit, I went ahead and got started on the back, got all our diff bolts out, letting it kind of seep out here first. And then we'll go ahead and pop the cover the rest of the way off. And what's pretty cool is this is already a posi unit. So we're good there, which is pretty cool. So we'll go ahead and get this cover off, let it drain, and then we will go from there. Okay, and we're still in the rear end, and just got the axles out, pulled the C-clips out, and believe it or not, I didn't break that little guy. Those are notorious for snapping off, which we have done it on the Silver Nova, and that is no fun trying to get all that out. So very fortunate there, got that out, got the pin out, got the C-clips out, got the axles out. So now we're ready to pull the old drum brakes off, get those backing plates out the way, and we'll be able to move on. I should have been filming because a couple funny things happened, but it's one of those things where kind of sick, so I'm not feeling that great, so I didn't really feel like messing with filming, but I should have been, because then that's when you always miss the fun stuff. But anyway, we'll move on, and we'll go ahead and start ripping this crap apart and get these drums out of here. All right, guys, still back on this rear end, and whenever you drive it, there's kind of a clunk back here, and I was pulling out, someone had the parking brake cables unhooked, and we're kind of wedged up in there to hold them in place with zip ties. So as I was getting those out, I actually bumped this link back here. I don't know what someone's doing with this link kit back here. It's like a half-assed 4-link. I don't even know what you would call it, but I don't know. It's junk. But anyway, I think I found our rear end noise. So the thing's completely loose and banging around. So I don't know what this setup is. I don't know if I've really showed it, but they've cut a bunch of leaf springs off, added these coilovers, and then welded these weird links in at different angles on each side. I mean, you can see that one over there is going straight, and this one's at a downward angle. I mean, I'm not much of a suspension performance setup guy, but something just seems a little off with that, and it's just kind of janky. So, and it's all loose and rattling around, so we're going to address that. But just getting things cleaned up, got to get these old axle seals out so we can get some new axle seals coming and get those pressed in before we get going on the rear brake setup. So anyway, we'll get those swapped out and we'll go from there. Okay, so these axle seals have been in there for a day or two. They definitely look original, so I struggled getting them out and kind of had an idea. I don't know, I'm sure some other people have done this. I never have because I don't do enough rear ends to do this stuff or, you know, figure out good ways to get these out. But a good cheat code for me was a pair of 45-degree angled needle nose and basically stuff them up in there. Then you got all this leverage to pry, popped it right out. So pretty excited. Came out way easier than the other side. So, and also, I was showing you guys this link in here. It's actually bent pretty good. So you can see when I roll it. So you can see it. This Heim joint is actually bent pretty good. There you can see it walking up. So that thing's bent and tweaked pretty good. So I think our solution is going to be get rid of these, get a new set of leaf springs with some drop blocks to lower it, cut these Heim joint deals off, and run our QA1 shocks that we got for the rear and go back to a simple style that works and it'll ride nice for them because it rides like a freaking log wagon right now. So I'll probably pull the rear end out of this thing, get the old leaf springs out, and yeah, just make life way easier. So it'd be a little bit more work and just a tad bit more money to buy the leaf springs, but I think overall this car deserves it. You definitely don't want to we just don't want this crap underneath here. It's not good. So anyway, that's pretty much where we're at. So if I go to pull this thing out, I'll set you guys up and film it. And yeah, I'm not sure. We're stopping for lunch right now. I got to clean up the backing plate areas on the axle, and then we'll go from there. All right, guys. Went ahead and stuffed a rag in there, cleaned up all this area on both sides. Nothing too extravagant. But I am going to yank the rear end out because this crap is going bye-bye. So I'm going to get these coilovers out. Get the Heim joints loose, get that crap taken apart, get the U-bolts and stuff out of it, and we're going to get this rear end out. That way I can cut all these mounts off, and we're going to run basically the QA1s and the leaf springs with some drop blocks. Just a really simple setup. You know, he doesn't really need a whole lot. He's not looking to track this car, road course it, autocross, nothing like that. Basically just ride clean, have a good stance, and be able to drive it. And this right here is just a jank setup. Like I said, that one side's already bent. The welds on these brackets aren't very good. One of them's already tweaked. So we're just going to go back with a simplistic stock setup with those nice QA1s and some drop blocks. Simple, and it works. So I'm going to set you up here and get this rear end out of it. Okay, it's out. I had the lift pads underneath the front of the leaf springs, so I couldn't really take those loose and swing the rear end out. And 10 bolts are so light, that's the easiest way I do it, and it works, simple. I was going to use the jack, but it kind of actually got more in the way. So I slid it out of the way and just manhandled her out. And now we don't have to take the leaf springs loose. So now we're basically ready to assess what we have, get these brackets cut off, same with the front, and get the stuff ordered we need to order, get the stuff thrown on, and she'll be ready to go back in, and then we can start on the start back up on the brake system again. This was kind of a what do you call that, unforeseen problem. So it is what it is. That's part of it. I mean, just more work. So we're going to assess what we got, cut the brackets off, then we'll get back with you. Okay, we went ahead and got this guy all finished up. All those ugly weld marks and brackets are cut off and smoothed out. So this rear end's basically ready to be cleaned up and repainted. So waiting on the new seals and everything we need. Those should be in here either tomorrow or Monday. So underneath side's pretty much ready to go. Minus I'm going to clean it up and paint some stuff up underneath there as well. So I'm kind of glad I got all that stuff knocked out. We're waiting on the front end rebuild kit. waiting on the heads. And as for now, went ahead and jumped back on getting the brake stuff done. I'm kind of bouncing all over. It's just part of it even though we have all the parts, you know, we're still waiting on some stuff. So over here, I got the column dropped on the inside, which I will show you real quick. And the reason I did that, I had to pull the whole cluster out of it. So I wanted to just swap the push rod out for the brake and the clevis deal here, whatever you call those. Well, the pin, when you go to drive it out, can't go anywhere. So you only got so much to play with when it's under the car, even with the spring unhooked. So as you can tell, that pin is not coming out, but there's a lot of room on this side. So I think someone's been in here before and rebuilt this cluster and put this pin in on the wrong side. So I have to pull this whole, it's just easier to pull all this out and then pull the shaft apart and redo it that way, because trying to get your hands underneath there and do all that crap way up in there with all the wiring is a pain in the butt. It's easier just to zip off the 4 or 5 bolts and pull the whole cluster out, just way easier. And this is going to be a nice car, so that allows me to go through, paint this up real nice, get it all cleaned up, and do everything the right way. So anyway, not a big deal. That's where I'm at right there. And I think that's where I'm going to leave this video off. I tried to make it a little bit longer since I'm bouncing between a bunch of stuff. But like I said, I'm probably going to get that cluster cleaned up and painted and remounted and all that, so that way I can work on putting the booster and master cylinder and stuff on. So that'll be in the next video, which will be part 3. So hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm not sure how many parts this will be. I know on this channel, my longer videos tend to do better, so I'm trying to make them a little bit longer. So hope you guys like that. Let me know down below if you do. So yeah, next video we'll get into more of the brake stuff and steering and suspension and cleaning up and freshening up and all that. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next video. And don't forget, like the video, drop a comment, and subscribe if you can. So anyway, yeah, see you guys in the next video.